Popcorn.
Yeah, popcorn.
A kernel issue. An issue with kernel.
Yes, I always have. Every time we come out of the movies, I have popcorn like stuck. There's always like one kernel stuck in.
Get it out.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Ride Home Podcast. My name is Abby.
Hey guys, it's Caitlin.
We are here tonight, just fresh out of the theater, and we saw what is supposed to be the end of Halloween, the last installment of Michael Myers, even though we probably know that's not the case.
Never the last.
It's never the last. Supposed to also be the last installment with Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode. We just saw Halloween Ends.
We did.
So before we get into our thoughts and feelings on the movie, I'm just going to give a quick synopsis and also a warning. When the movie ended and the credits rolled, the first thing I said when I looked over to Caitlin was, we have to do spoilers.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this is a movie that I don't think you can even get an accurate review without a little bit of spoiler. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this whole podcast will be spoilers.
Full of spoilers.
Not only for this movie, but also
every single movie we talk about. The whole thing is just
the
spoilers.
whole thing is spoilers. So if you are protecting yourself from spoilers, come back to us after you've seen this movie.
Slash every other Michael Myers movie.
Yeah. So the movie was directed by David Gordon Green, who directed Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills.
Okay.
This movie is 4 years after the last movie that we saw, which is Halloween Kills. So I'm going to give a brief synopsis from Google, as always. 4 years after her last encounter with masked, I can never say that word.
Masked.
Ooh,
that's hard.
There was like 2 D's at the end there. Masked killer Michael Myers. Laurie Strode is living with her granddaughter and trying to finish her memoir. Myers hasn't been seen since, and Laurie finally decides to liberate herself from rage and fear and embrace life. However, when a young man stands accused of murdering a boy that he was babysitting, it ignites a cascade of violence and terror that forces Laurie to confront the evil she cannot control.
That's a pretty good synopsis.
That was a good synopsis. I'm a little surprised that they mentioned the boy's death at the beginning of the movie in the synopsis, because I feel like that's a pretty big...
Yeah, I wouldn't have given that away.
Wouldn't have given that up so easily. We're going to start it off with you.
Okay.
What are your thoughts and feelings leaving the theater? Fresh out the theater.
Do you think you know, like, based on my reaction in the theater, do you know what I'm going to say?
I have no idea.
You don't have a clue?
No.
Okay. I didn't like it.
You didn't like it at all?
No.
Okay.
There were like a few scenes only with Laurie that I liked.
Right.
Because I love Laurie always.
And Jamie Lee Curtis.
Always.
Yes.
Ooh, but I feel like it really reached. And it really struggled in a few departments.
More than one. Yep.
Yeah, definitely more than one department. And I have a huge issue with one of the major plot points of the movie.
Okay. And what is that?
That Michael had a helper.
Michael's little helper. Santa's helper.
Because Michael has never had help.
Michael's little elf.
And that whole thing to me just felt way left field to me.
Yeah.
It almost kind of took away from Michael.
It absolutely did. So Michael's helper elf is Corey, who in that description of the movie that we got from Google, which we're both shocked that they put that in the summary.
Yeah, because that was like a very shocking scene.
An incredibly shocking scene that you aren't expecting at all, because I read nothing about the movie going into it. I checked the Rotten Tomato score today, but I didn't even read a review. I wanted to go in fresh. And the movie opens with a couple going to a Halloween party and their babysitter canceled, so they got their lawn care guy to come and watch their son. And
that's their first mistake.
That's their first issue.
Never get the yard guy to babysit.
Basically, the little boy is described to Corey, the babysitter, as this shy and timid kid that's really scared of Michael Myers. Turns out he's like the shittiest kid in the world, and he's like a little bit of an asshole. We saw that
coming.
Yeah. And at some point, he plays a trick on Corey, and he convinces him that he's under attack upstairs. And so Corey goes upstairs to try and save him, and he ends up locking Corey into an attic, like door opening, basically, to like a spare room. Right as the parents come home, Corey is able to kick down the door, get out of this spare room, but while kicking down the door, he pushes the little boy over a banister, down 3 flights, straight onto the floor in front of his mother.
Correct.
Snaps his neck.
Correct.
It was very violent.
Very abrupt, very violent, very shocking.
But I will say that the reason why I'm really disappointed in Google letting that fact go is because I would put that, it's not as high as the Hereditary moment, but it was, I think because it was a child and because it was, you weren't expecting it if you didn't read this synopsis, it felt like it came out of left field.
It was shocking.
You, because it's a Halloween movie, are expecting the opening scene to be Michael Myers killing somebody. And so you were just waiting for, okay, this shitty little kid, locked his babysitter in this room. Turns out Michael Myers is in the room.
Right.
Like, that's what you're expecting. So I loved that twist.
I actually did too.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is a cool, start.
But then this kid just goes down this whole path of like the Haddonfield hates him because Michael Myers isn't around. So they need somebody to hate. And even though he like doesn't have charges pressed against him, everybody thinks he killed this kid.
Right.
And it slowly turns him evil. Not slowly. I'm going to take that back.
Yeah,
very rapidly to makes him evil.
He gets beat up one time by high schoolers, and all of a sudden, and he meets Laurie Strode,
and all of a sudden and
then that's it.
Basically, the rest of the movie involves this kid finding Michael Myers in a tunnel, and then being like trained by Michael Myers to kill people, but not trained like physically. It's like a mental thing that they have together.
Yeah, like they're somehow connected by like the evil inside of them.
The evil inside. Now, here's my biggest issue with that, is that I am literally wearing a t-shirt right now with Michael Myers on the t-shirt.
Right.
I am a Halloween super fan.
Right.
I have seen all of them. Even the bad ones I enjoy in some capacity.
Sure.
Michael Myers was not in that movie until 50 minutes into the movie. 50 whole minutes into an hour and 55-minute long movie. How dare they?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. The plot and the storyline of Corey really took away from Michael, because they took so long to develop this whole story
With
of
him,
Corey and how
yes.
he's evil and he's killing people, and he like woos Laurie's granddaughter and their whole romance.
They
weird
have this
thing.
weird toxic romance that's develops way too fast.
So strange. And then it's like randomly Michael pulls him into a what is it, a tunnel? A sewer, and like chokes him, but barely like lets him live.
Because when he chokes him, Michael sees the evil inside of him. So he sees potential.
So he just he's like, oops, not you, because you could kill people.
I like you. I absolutely hated it. I hated that connection. But here's my issue, is that I can't fully shit on this movie, because I think if you it's weird. If you removed Michael Myers from this movie, it might actually be pretty good. Like if it was just about this kid
being fucked up,
not committing a crime, but being accused of it, and a town hating him, and like getting him to the point of becoming a serial killer, that could have been its own movie.
That's believable as a movie by itself.
And I think that whoever wrote this movie had a really good idea, but it didn't need to be a Halloween movie.
No.
And he could have developed this evil side of him without Michael even being involved. And what is such a shame is that the scenes with Corey are pretty good. I thought he was actually a really good actor.
Yeah.
Like, not Oscar winning here.
No, but he did a good job.
I thought that his kill scenes, even though he's not Michael Myers and he doesn't have that like Michael Myers super strength and all that,
Right.
like his kill scenes were pretty interesting, and he had a little bit more like motive behind his kills,
Sure.
which the whole point of Michael Myers is that he is just evil incarnate. This kid Corey kind of going after all of the people that wronged him felt so like not like Halloween.
Yeah.
Because again, that's not just like evil incarnate. That's just like a really fucked up kid getting back at, you know, his mommy that he has mommy issues with, the kids that make fun of him, the guy that wants his girlfriend.
Sure.
It just felt like two different movies. It was like it was like a Halloween movie, and then it was a movie about this kid. Any point that those two sections met up were awful.
Like, that's what I said, like, at the very beginning when I said they were reaching.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Trying to connect those two plots was really a reach.
And even Laurie's involvement with Corey through her granddaughter was like a reach. Like, it was like they were trying to figure out how to connect Laurie and this kid, which they could have just connected them with that one scene where Laurie helps him when like the bullies are calling him a pedo and all that, and she helps him slash their tires.
Right.
Like they could have developed a relationship from that.
Right.
I don't think that her setting up her granddaughter with him was believable. I don't feel like their connection, like her granddaughter and him, their connection wasn't believable, and it was so intense so fast that like suddenly her granddaughter, who in both Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills is not like a crazy impulsive weird girl, all of the sudden she becomes that in this movie. Very unusual.
So weird. It just went a little bit, well, a lot. I felt like off the rails.
I do not think this is the worst Halloween movie.
No, it's not.
I will say, though, because this is supposed to be the end of Michael Myers, and because this is supposed to be also the closing of the chapter of Laurie Strode, ending with a movie that is mostly about somebody else felt like an insult in a way.
Like it felt cheap. Like it felt like a cop-out.
And it also felt like, how dare you make Michael Myers this crotchety old man in a sewer
who needs a help?
Yeah.
Like who needs like a side hand? Like that's not who Michael is.
No. And that's my one of my things I was thinking about is like, it's so funny that Michael Myers has taken multiple bullets and stab wounds and XYZ, but like not immune to old age apparently.
Apparently not. Apparently that's the one thing.
That's the one.
Father Time has finally come.
Yeah.
For Michael.
Basically the whole movie we're supposed to just feel like Michael's just washed
on
up and on his way out, and he's dying in the sewer, and it's his last hurrah, but he needs help to do it.
Yeah.
Very unusual. I would love to hear the decision behind why they brought in Corey as such a main character. Honestly, the main character in the movie.
Truly, yeah.
He easily has
Movies
the most
about
screen
him.
Time. Yeah. He has the most screen time. He has the most kills. I think, how many people does Michael kill? He kills the woman with the doctor.
He killed the police.
Oh, okay.
He stabbed the police.
But that's 2 people.
But that's 2. And Corey killed all of the rest of them.
That's a shame. Imagine, like...
The movie is supposed to be about, like, the most famous slasher
in all of history. And he gets 2 kills.
And he only kills 2 people.
Which, like, the last... Because
he's
funny
old.
because, like, kills, it was, like... non-stop, like it was
so
just constant
many.
Gore and violence, and he just killed and killed and killed and killed and killed.
Well, he's tired.
He got so tired from kills.
He finally got
Michael
so
got sleepy.
A little tired, baby.
You're tired, Michael. Good night in your sewer.
Good night in your little sewer.
Yeah, I'm disappointed.
Yeah, I am too.
And again, I'm just gonna reiterate that this is not a bad movie.
No.
I have seen so many worse horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen worse Halloween movies.
Mm-hmm.
They were really successful in a few departments. I think there were some really good kills. I think Corey was a really good and well-developed character.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, they developed him so much that the rest of the cast, including our two leads, Lori and Michael, who even on like the poster, they're like back to back with each other. Man, what a downer. We end the movie with Lori and her granddaughter bleeding Michael out on a table together, followed by them processing his body through Haddonfield, which that
on the top of her like hatchback.
That brought me back to all the mob scenes and Halloween Kills, and it made me nauseous because if anybody who knows me knows that Halloween Kills is just the most disappointing thing I've ever watched.
Mm-hmm. I felt the same thing. They
process his body to a junkyard and they throw him in a metal crusher.
Yeah.
And crush his body. So Michael Myers is dead.
He's bye-bye.
He is officially dead. So if any movie connects to this movie in the future, there will not be a Michael Myers.
There won't.
So for Michael Myers to come back, they're going to have to completely start over and ignore
make a whole new thing.
You know, which has been done twice already. Mm-hmm. So it is possible that we'll see another Halloween, I'm sure. I would be very curious to see, though, if Jamie Lee Curtis truly does hang up her hat or if she'll come back for a third iteration of Laurie Strode.
Who's to say?
I kind of want her to because that was so disappointing.
Her for like a redemption, honestly.
Yeah. She was great, though. I mean,
she was. She's always great.
She's always great, and I think she, as a human being, is so great, and she's so likable that anytime she's on screen, you're just like grinning from ear to ear, like you love her. That being said, what is your popcorn rating on this one?
I am going to have to go with a small.
I'm going to put it this way. If Resurrection and Halloween Kills is a small for me, this is a medium.
That's fair.
I think there are some redeeming factors throughout the movie that made me enjoy it enough that I will watch it again, and I think I'm going to try to watch it again without the expectation of seeing Michael. As much. And now that I'm kind of prepared for it to not be a Halloween movie and to just watch it as a movie, I might actually enjoy it more. And there is enough there that I can't put it on the same level as the Halloweens that I don't really like.
Okay. That's fair.
So in preparation for seeing this movie, I put you through the ringer this week.
You sure did. It was a lot of Halloween in our house.
Yeah. So we ended up doing a watch through of all of the Halloween movies minus the Rob Zombie Halloweens because I have seen them once and I refuse to ever watch them again. I think they're absolutely terrible. I also removed Season of the Witch because even though it is a great movie and I highly suggest if you're an 80s horror fan to check out that movie because it has nothing to do with Michael Myers. They made a completely unrelated movie that is honestly great but has nothing to do with Michael Myers. So that is off the list. That being said, we watched Halloween, Halloween 2, Halloween 4, Halloween 5, Halloween 6, H2O, Resurrection, 2018 Halloween, and Halloween Kills in preparation for this movie.
Yes, we did.
Are you okay?
I'm okay, but I'm sick of them. I'm
sick of it.
Sick of Michael Myers, I have to say.
I am so sorry.
It's okay.
But I'm really curious to hear your list and especially where Halloween Ends fits into that list. What is your lowest on the list?
We are going to kick it off with Resurrection.
Resurrection. Busta Rhymes.
Busta Rhymes.
I remember I warned you ahead of time. I was like, listen, Caitlin, this is going to be really bad. You're not ready for this.
And like all you told me was that Busta Rhymes was in it and Tyra Banks was going to also be in it.
Yep. And the kid from Smart House and Luck of the Irish is in it.
And also one of the kids from American Pie is in it. and Walmart Great Value brand Brittany Murphy is in it. So that's really the only foundation I had going into it. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I'm still traumatized by watching Lori kiss Michael. Like, what a weird choice.
Right?
She kisses him and then goes, I'll see you in hell. I'll never watch that movie again.
I think for me, like the first time I ever saw Resurrection, I was just shocked that that's how they like came off of H2O. And I was also just so surprised that Jamie Lee Curtis agreed to that.
Yeah.
Her scene at the beginning is just so bad. And the kiss on the mask is so strange, which, by the way, the Resurrection mask is one of the worst Michael Myers masks.
So dumb.
Ever. It doesn't even look like Michael Myers.
That's what I was thinking. I literally put that on my thing. I was like, Michael isn't even like looking the same, acting the same.
No.
Like, he's not himself.
Another issue that I have with Resurrection is that the entire movie, the only way that they are even attempting to build tension is through this really high-pitched ringing sound through the entire movie.
Yes.
It's so obnoxious.
It was a very loud movie, it felt like. And like, I don't really usually get like too put off by sounds in movies.
Right.
But like you said, like I just kept turning it down because I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah. And also another like technical issue that I have with it is that it has all of those before they had enough frames per second to actually make good quality slow motion. It has constant shuddery slow motion that just feels like woozy and oh my God, where are we? I can't stand it. And I think one of my favorite parts when we were watching it was when they get into the house and they're strapping up their little cameras and they're walking around the house and you go, now it's found footage? And I go, yes. And you go, oh no.
It was like already so bad, and then they were like, and now it's going to be found footage, and I was like, no.
Oh my God.
I will say, however, possibly one of my favorite lines, not just because of what the line was, but because of the delivery and because of who was delivering it.
Yeah.
Was when Busta Rhymes goes, trick or treat, motherfucker. I'll never get over that.
Even though it is an awful movie, like just having Busta Rhymes like challenge Michael Myers to like a kung fu battle,
oh my God.
It's just like, it feels like a parody. Like it feels like this isn't a real movie.
Right.
So there are some scenes that are worth a watch.
Super entertaining. I'm really glad I got to see Busta Rhymes say trick or treat, motherfucker, and challenge Michael Myers in a kung fu fight. I'm not going to lie.
So after Resurrection, what is your next on the list? Your number 9?
Next is, I wish I could honestly rank it as bad as Resurrection just because of how grating this movie was on my nerves. Fucking Halloween 6, Curse of Michael Myers. That fucking baby.
The crying baby.
That crying baby. I wanted to die. I just wanted to shut the movie off.
Now, what's worse, the crying baby or Paul Rudd's acting?
Could be both. Could be a tie.
Could be.
He's precious. It was great.
I mean,
he's
so handsome.
He's so handsome. We love to see him.
Yeah.
Doing little acting things, but he wasn't the best. He tried really hard and he was trying to save that baby. Do you want to do the song?
Mommy, it's raining. It's raining red. Mommy, it's raining. It's raining red. I will say that even though it felt very like they were forcing us to be scared of like the little kid, however, I will say that that moment is actually one of the best moments in the whole movie. It
actually is.
The reveal of the body in the tree and it's bleeding down blood on this little girl who's spinning around in an angel costume. That is a great moment.
That's pretty cool. But what's not cool is the plot of like the
cult.
Yeah. I couldn't do it.
It just gets worse and worse and worse.
So bad.
Specifically the last like 20 minutes when the cult comes back into the picture. It's just the worst possible writing, direction, story, everything. It's so bad.
Yeah. Couldn't.
What makes the first Halloween so great is that he's just evil. And there's no explanation for it.
Yeah, don't.
And you don't need one.
Ready for my next one?
Yep.
Okay, number 8 is going to be Halloween Kills.
Mm-hmm.
And all I'm going to say about it is it sucks.
That's your whole review for Halloween Kills.
That's my review for Halloween Kills.
Yeah. So I absolutely despise Halloween Kills.
I know you do.
I think it felt to me like a YouTube movie made by a fan that thought he was going to make like just the best homage to Halloween ever and somehow managed to convince Jamie Lee Curtis to be in it.
Yes.
I think coming off of the 2018 Halloween, it was the biggest drop in quality. Even more of a drop from H2O to Resurrection, which was a huge drop.
That was.
But the fact that this was directed by the same person, written by the same team, I couldn't even process how that happened. How they went from a really solid movie in 2018 to just this absolute tragedy of a movie. Even though this is a horror movie and this is a slasher and this is a really horrible person, I'm going to say it was too gory.
It was way too gory.
And I don't even mind gore. I like gory movies, but when I'm seeing a Halloween movie, I'm not in it for gore. I'm in it for like the vibe of Michael Myers, the creeping in the bushes, right, and the nostalgic music and the feeling of it being the actual day of Halloween.
Yeah.
And it was like they wanted to just make this absolute bloodbath, but also have these really awful forced nostalgia moments, like when they're chanting "Evil dies tonight" together. Evil dies tonight. Evil dies tonight. This awful mob scene that just,
it was so corny.
It was so corny. And they also like had most of the movie set in a hospital, which was like a nod to Halloween 2. And then they had the mob scene, which is a nod to like Halloween 4. And then they also had the return of Tommy Doyle. They had the return of Lindsay. They had the return of the nurse from the opening scene. And it was like the most forced, here's so much nostalgia. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Yeah, it's like the Halloween reunion.
Yeah.
But like
the Halloween reunion episode.
Yeah.
I honestly wish that like Resurrection didn't exist so that I could put Kills at the bottom, but like it's impossible not to.
Yeah, you can't. You can't.
All right, what is your next?
Coming in at number 7, I'm going to put Halloween Ends.
Halloween Ends. Okay.
Yeah, because I'm just still very perturbed about what they've done with Michael. Like they just did Michael so dirty in this movie. They did Michael
real dirty.
And it just didn't feel right.
It didn't feel right, and also it didn't feel like I'm in Halloween. This movie could have happened at any other day and time.
Yeah.
There was no nod to Halloween except for they were wearing masks at a bar scene.
Party. There was like one random trick-or-treating.
Yeah.
Like very brief.
Very brief.
Where it was just like, oops, it's Halloween, trick-or-treaters. And that was about it.
Yeah.
So number 6 for me is going to be Halloween 5, Revenge of Michael Myers. Strictly.
I know exactly what
you know what I'm going to say. Strictly because Loomis is
unhinged.
So annoying.
Yeah.
In this movie. He is so like overacting. He never shuts up.
Never.
It's like the fucking Loomis show. And no one else gets a part in this movie besides Loomis.
I will say though that the laundry chute scene when Jamie falls into the laundry chute and is trying to climb up the laundry chute while Michael Myers is like stabbing into it is a really one of my favorite scenes like in any Halloween movie. Yeah. I also love the character of Tina. She is a lot of fun. Yeah.
I loved her.
They could have done a lot with 5. if they had just deleted Loomis.
Just take Loomis out for 1 second.
Oh, God.
Jesus. Okay. Number 5 for me is going to be Halloween 2018. Honestly, like, I wish it could be higher, but there's just ones that I like better than this.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Because, like, I actually really did like Halloween 2018.
Same.
And when we watched it, what I said to you about why I love it so much is, like, this is the return of Michael Myers.
Yeah.
It was such an epic
movie
of, like, him coming back. And him and Laurie reuniting. And Laurie's such a badass in this movie.
I know, she's so good.
Like, it was just like the return of Michael and the return of Laurie and the return of Michael and Laurie. And it was just also very funny. Yeah. I thought that was and
authentically funny. Like, it wasn't
not forced. Yeah. I thought, like, genuinely a pretty funny movie. I thought the writing was pretty good, actually.
It feels like they took their time with 2018. It feels like they really planned it out, and they wrote not only a good, just like, Halloween movie involving Michael Myers, but they also just wrote a good movie. And I also think that they handled Laurie's PTSD the best out of ends, out of kills, out of H2O, out of Resurrection. I felt like her response to that night, becoming a recluse, becoming somebody who is, like, obsessed with when is he gonna return, and being prepared for that,
and outsmarting
him, I thought was so well done. And Jamie Lee Curtis is such a badass that it was the perfect place for that character to go.
Yes.
And I think, honestly, that's why I'm so disappointed by Kills and Ends, because this movie is tied to Kills and Ends. It's the same timeline, it's the same Laurie, and for some reason, like,
it's like they lost their momentum or something.
Yeah.
It's like they put all of their thought and energy and time and money into 2018, and then Kills and Ends were just kind of like an afterthought.
Yeah. I also love in 2018 that it was filmed in Charleston.
Yeah.
And I think there are a lot of scenes in it that, like, feel familiar to us. And one of the scenes that was filmed, I believe it was the school dance, was filmed at, like, a meeting hall across the street from my old apartment.
Oh my God.
And then also Laurie's, like, woodsy area was a woodsy area literally behind your old apartment.
Yeah.
That I drove past every single day to come visit you when we were dating.
Also, the scenes where Michael's in the, like, prison or whatever, when he's in that, like,
the courtyard with the red
was where
brick.
I went to grad school.
Yeah.
So just, like, very random, like, Charleston like landmarks that we could point out,
which is a lot of fun. So 2018, what a good solid movie.
Yeah, I feel happy that it's in the top 5 for me.
I don't think it can be anywhere else but
I
the
don't
top
think
5.
so either. Okay, next for me, you will not be surprised.
Okay.
By my ranking of H2O.
H2O, baby.
H2O is going to be number 4 for me because I am an actual addict. I am addicted to movies from the late 90s and early 2000s.
They're all so specific.
Whether it's horror, whether it's rom-com, whether it's coming of age.
Yeah.
I really don't care what genre of movie it is. If it was made in the late 90s and early 2000s, I'm probably going to enjoy it. Something about movies that were made in that time are just like my shit.
It feels like Scream, and if you're a fan of Scream, you're gonna like H2O.
Definitely.
I will say, though, that the only downsides I will give to H2O is there is one shot where they used a CGI mask on Michael, and it's just absolutely terrible.
Oh no.
But besides that, I am not the biggest fan of Laurie's character in H2O.
Yeah, I no.
She's kind of like a sad alcoholic who has a little bit of a codependent relationship with her son.
Yeah.
And out of all of the Halloweens, it's probably, besides Resurrection, it's probably like the worst version of Laurie.
Yeah,
that
I would
we've
agree.
seen. However, it makes up so much with the rest of the movie with like LL Cool J scenes,
Yes.
Josh Hartnett's hair.
Wait. Stop for just a second so I can tell you what I wrote about Josh Hartnett's hair. Okay, so they do the thing in the opening credits where they say introducing Josh Hartnett, like they did like with Paul Rudd, introducing Paul Rudd. And so in my notes I wrote, in quotes, introducing Josh Hartnett with the most tragic haircut of 1998.
What was that haircut? Please, if you have not seen H2O, just Google Josh Hartnett's hair in Halloween H2O. Because I'm not even sure if it could be considered a style. It literally looks like somebody just like
someone
butchered
ate his hair. Someone chewed his hair.
Someone just
like a child chewed on his hair.
It looks like he was babysitting a kid and fell asleep on the couch, and like the kid cut the hair
with like kid scissors.
Yeah,
but it's just so sad because we love Josh Hartnett also. He was such a little heartthrob, and he was great in this movie too.
He was.
We have to say his haircut was horrible, but he was great.
Horrible.
Okay, now here's where things get a little bit interesting,
a little dicey,
because the next one is number 3.
Okay.
I have 0 notes about this film. And I truthfully couldn't tell you what even happened in this film because they're all running together at this point for me.
Okay.
So without my notes,
if you put it at
without
number 3.
my notes, I don't know why I liked this movie so much. So you're going to have to help me out with this one. I don't know what happened to me.
Okay.
And why I didn't have any notes. But number 3 for me is Halloween 4.
Okay. So Halloween 4 is the introduction of Jamie.
Oh, okay. So now I know why I liked it so much.
Okay.
Because of that.
Because you like Jamie.
Because I like Jamie. And that was such a cool little thing that they did.
I think that Halloween 4 has the most heart out of any of the Halloweens. I think the character of Jamie in Halloween 4, Halloween 5, we'll just set that aside and not count that. I think Jamie is really easy to connect to. We're missing Laurie Strode, and it's sad not to have her in there, but you know, you're thinking, okay, this is her daughter, and you want to like protect her just like because of that. And then having like the students picking on her and like Jamie's uncle's a boogeyman and like your mom's dead, like,
and she's like a foster kid.
It's just really easy to latch on to her, and I think some of the most effective horror movies are the ones where you truly care about the person that's being hunted or being stalked, killed, whatever, you know, is
bothered.
In that. And I think that in the same way that we really connect to Laurie Strode's innocence in the first movie, we connect to Jamie's innocence in this one.
100%.
And I absolutely love 4 also for the cinematography. I think it is right up there with the original Halloween. There are some really beautiful shots, and there's some really like terrifying shots too. Like there's the one where the sheriff is sitting in the chair and you see Michael Myers' face in the black, in the darkness, just briefly. It reminds me of like why I love Strangers so much. 4 gives me that lurking feeling of Michael lurking in the shadows, and I think 4 is just so much the vibe and the energy of the first movie that it is for sure my favorite sequel. I'm giving myself away right now, but it's my favorite sequel, and it also has one of my favorite kills, which is when Michael shoves a gun through a girl's body and pins her up against the wall.
Dang, that was crazy.
In Halloween Ends, when they're saying throughout the town, like every time there's a murder, people think like, is Michael back? And there's this one scene where they show 2 gunshot victims, and you hear the one cop go, well, Michael never uses a gun. And it's funny because that is the only kill in all of the Halloweens where Michael uses a gun, but he doesn't shoot her. Doesn't shoot her.
Nope.
Just right into the wall.
Dang.
And it's an absolutely brutal kill, and I just love Halloween 4 so much.
Me too.
It gets me worked up about
Me too.
how much
I loved it so much I didn't write a single note about it.
You were just enjoying the movie.
I was, apparently. Yeah.
All right. So if you loved 4, what's your 2 then?
Okay. 2 is 2.
2 is 2.
I love this for a couple of reasons. First of all, I love that we find out that Laurie is Michael's sister. because that was such an interesting plot point. The kills are significantly more intense, more violent than what we've seen, obviously, with just the original Halloween.
Creative, one might say.
Very creative. And I love that it takes place in a hospital. It's all very isolated to this one place. And even like when there are scenes outside of the hospital, it's literally outside of the hospital.
Yeah.
Like in the parking lot. Like it doesn't go any further than that.
Yeah.
Which to me, I felt like built so much suspense because it was like, we know Michael's going to be here the whole time. Yeah. And like, what sort of shit is he going to do?
And I think anybody who has ever been in a hospital at night knows that a hospital at night is honestly one of the scariest places.
Yeah.
It just makes you feel so unsettled and on edge. And like, there's something so strange about like the lighting at night. And I think they really captured that like isolated feeling of like a very limited staff and like all the patients are asleep and there's no interaction like
with any other people.
With like the outside world. And I completely agree that I think the kills in 2 honestly are probably, it's the best batch of kills out of any of the Halloweens. And that includes Halloween Kills. They tried their hardest with all that gore and all the shock and all the awe.
They did too much.
But they did too much, and Halloween 2 really was just the best string of kills, I think, out of any of the Halloween movies.
And they were subtle. They were creative and they were subtle. And it wasn't like what they tried to do in Kills where it was just like, he was just like curb stomping people. Yeah. And it's like, that's not that scary. Like, he's just being a dick. Like
gross isn't always scary.
No.
I was just like so put off because I was just like, this isn't Michael Myers. Like, Michael Myers is like quick and dirty.
Yeah.
Like, he just likes to like one slice and he's done.
Like, he's gonna slit your throat or stab you into the wall.
Yeah.
And that's probably about it.
And I think the thing about Halloween 2 is that even though the kills are creative, it still feels like Michael. Like, the scene where he burns the nurse's face off in the pool. There's the scene where he stabs like a syringe through a doctor's eye, but we don't even see it. Yeah. And it's the reveal of like what he did that's so creepy and original. And so I think constantly seeing Michael slaughter people in kills, like that's not the vibe. And Halloween 2 is the vibe.
Halloween 2 is the vibe, which is why it's number 2 for me.
Yeah.
Which, of course, brings me to my very number 1.
So you put number 1 at number 1.
I put number 1 at number 1 because, to me, it is the quintessential Michael Myers movie.
Yeah.
It's what sets the stage for all of the rest. But not just that. It's just so freaking timeless. So freaking classic. Like, when we put it on Halloween,
it feels like Halloween.
Every year.
Which every year, I typically watch it on Halloween, which I'm still going to watch it on Halloween.
Right.
But this year we obviously watched it a little early and we got a really special treat because we got to see it on the big screen.
We did.
Regal was playing it on the big screen. And I think just like the first like few frames of the pumpkin and the logo, I was filled with the Halloween spirit.
Yeah.
And just what an absolute classic movie.
It's so classic. And it's just, like I said, it's so timeless. Like, this is the one Halloween movie that I will never get tired of.
Yeah.
I have to say.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to watch it every year. And I don't know that I really could say that about any of the other ones.
Yeah.
For me, because I'm not a super fan. So, like, for me, it will always be one for me, like the original.
I think one of the positives about Halloween is that it is so palatable for a casual viewer because it was shot in a time where real, true, gory horror was still in like, B-list horror. Like, it was not being shown to general audiences. This was so scary and intense without having to be disgusting.
Yep.
And again, I'm a huge fan of disgusting. But for someone like you who just wants to be scared and spooked, Michael lurking in the bushes and hiding in the laundry and just staring
and fucking with people.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I like.
Like, he's a little bit of like a mind fuck in the first one. And I think one of my favorite scenes, actually, it's probably my favorite scene in any Halloween movie, period, is when he kills Bob. And it's the first time we see him hanging up somebody on a wall.
Yep.
But that first time where he hangs somebody up on the wall and he does that slight head tilt and he's just looking at it, and it's like his trophy, and it's his, putting an animal head up on a wall almost. It makes you, even though it's not scary to the point that you're screaming, it makes you feel so unsettled and just creeped out, and you feel evil.
Yeah.
Which is what Michael is supposed to be and what he is. And I just think that the first Halloween just captures him so perfectly.
100%.
And we get glimpses of that Michael throughout all of them, of course. But I don't think we've ever fully gotten like that Michael 100% back. No. And that's why
it's like untouchable.
Yeah, it is untouchable. And Laurie is so good in it. And there's so much like innocence involved, where it's like he's literally lurking after the sweetest girl at the high school who's too scared to ask out a boy to the dance. And like she is the OG perfect final girl and will always be my favorite final girl. Always.
We love you, Laurie Strode.
Laurie, we love you.
We really do.
I also think that there is something to be said about the beauty of Halloween. It is by far the most gorgeous out of all of the Halloweens. There's some wide shots of the house where you see Michael like lurking in just a really perfectly lit section of the yard. I mean, just absolutely iconic shots. And I don't know if you know this, but it's actually one of the kind of pioneers of the Steadicam.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So it's also very impactful on just how we shoot horror in general.
That's cool.
There's some other movies, obviously, that laid the groundwork for the future of slasher movies and just the future of horror.
Sure.
But really, this is like the grandfather. Like, this is the big guy.
This is a big daddy.
Big Daddy Michael. So, needless to say, Halloween is my favorite out of all of them. And then I would go Halloween 4 after that.
Okay.
Halloween 2 after that. Halloween H2O after that.
Yes.
Halloween 2018 after that.
Okay.
This is going to shock you. Halloween Ends after that.
Really?
Because I think it is a better movie than 5 Kills, 6 or Resurrection.
Okay.
Even if it's not a good Halloween movie.
Okay, I got you.
5 is number 7. I think Loomis just absolutely tanks that movie. Just so bad.
We hate you, Loomis.
8 is Kills. I wish that I could put Kills lower, but 6 and Resurrection are so bad that I have to put 6 and Resurrection as my last 2.
Our lists are pretty similar.
They're very similar. There's only a few minor differences.
Which is interesting because, again, you're a super fan and you've seen these movies
multiple times.
way, way, way more times than I have seen these movies. So we apparently have very similar tastes in Halloween movies.
You know the good.
I do. Real recognize is real.
Yeah.
And on that note, I'm just going to recognize 2 of my favorite things about Halloween movies. The first one being, not all Halloween movies are good.
Nope.
But there is at least one good kill scene or scary scene in every single Halloween movie.
Absolutely. Every single one of them.
You know what else is in every single Halloween movie?
What?
Boobs.
All right, everybody, that does it for us. I'm still laughing. That does it for us. We are taking a small break next week, but we're going to keep the spooky times rolling. We are going to do a Instagram tournament of the best horror villain.
Yes.
So get on Instagram, go follow us at @TheRideHome_podcast.
Yes.
please vote, and we're going to see who you guys think is the #1 horror movie villain.
I can't wait.
I can't wait. After that, we are going to do a very special Halloween episode where Caitlin has never seen A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
And I don't like Nightmare on Elm Street.
Interesting.
And I am willing to revisit it because I have not seen it since the first time I watched it because I disliked it that much.
Oh my God.
So we are going to go into this almost blind together because I barely remember it. And I have fought against seeing this movie for like 10 years.
What if I like it?
You might love it. I might like it. I don't know. I watched it in my early 20s and never watched it again. So very excited to bring the rest of spooky season to you guys on Instagram and our next episode, which will be coming out right before Halloween weekend.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking this journey through Halloween with us.
What a journey.
And I just want to thank you for watching 10 Halloween movies in 1 week. I am very proud of you.
I expect a thank you for your service. Some sort of present. Thank you for your service present.
Okay.
In my future.
I'll figure something out.
Okay, great.
All right, everybody. I hope you have a fantastic weekend.
And thanks for joining us on the ride home.